Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rock M Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst. This is before the box score. It's UMass week because I couldn't cancel this game and replace him with anybody else. Hurst, Nathan Hurst, how you doing?
We're here. I mean, we've been waiting a long time. We've had this one marked on the calendar since 2018, whenever it was scheduled. I don't know what year it was, but I know that I put a big old star around this matchup. You don't get to walk into Amherst, Massachusetts every day and play a football game. So, I'm ready to go. It's been a long 6 years in the making. We're ready to go.
Let's do it. Yeah. McGurk Alumni Stadium in Amherst, Massachusetts. Widely considered one of the crappiest little stadiums in America, certainly in the FBS. One of the reasons why the MAC got rid of UMass the first time, by the way, a lack of effort into updating football facilities. Now they're going back to the MAC. Don't sing the song, but they're going to do it. And it's just a little old program in Northeast United States that does not churn out a lot of football talent. And if it does, it gets found by, Ohio State, Penn State, or any team with any kind of a recruiting budget at all. So, UMass, by the way, if you haven't told, we're not talking about Texas A&M. UMass is just, it's an odd little home of broken boy soldiers. The number of transfers that are starting on offense is actually most of them. It started at Georgia Tech, Clemson, Cal, a couple FCS call-ups. It's an interesting place, and it's had a lot of success in the past. Now, most of that's been at the FCS level, but it has not really been a successful program since 2012 when it made the jump. So Missouri is going to go play there because that's what Jim Sturk thought was a good idea in 2018. And so here we are going on yet another road trip to a place that, as Eli Drinkwitz has famously said many times before, we don't recruit there to go play a game where you literally gain nothing. Hurst, I know we talked about this in the offseason, how you felt about this game. How do you feel about this game now that we are here? Obviously, facetiously, you circled it on your calendar, but how do you feel about it right now?
To be honest, I'm ready to get it over with and move on to a game that will actually tell me something or show me something about the Mizzou Tiger football team. This game isn't going to do that. Similar in a lot of ways to the Murray State game to start the season, but at least that was the first game of the year. It was hooray, football season has started. Hooray, this is the first time we get to see the team on the field. We've been waiting patiently for 8 or 9 months. We finally get to do it. Now we're here. We've seen this team on the field. It's the middle of football season, and we have another kind of womp womp matchup. So there's really nothing I can see in this game that's going to excite me. So I'm just ready to get to next week because that's when we're going to get back to games that are interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, I am famously in the camp of schedule winnable games. That's where I sit.
It is a winnable game.
This is absolutely a winnable game. You are right. I am right. We are right. That is what this is. This is giving money to a program to help them basically field their athletic program for a year, to keep it funded. And that's good. You want, if you like football, you need lots of participants to play football. That's just how this works. It requires the most guys, most people for a team. It's very expensive. There's no law saying football has to remain popular. Like, if you want this sport to thrive, you need the ecosystem to be deep. So these sorts of games, while you might not enjoy them, they are vital for the success of the sport long term. I also enjoy watching Missouri win. And, to your point, Murray State, Buffalo, yes, that's what I love. I absolutely love it. Here's the problem that I have with this game. You can look at the recruiting territory, not a whole lot of guys there. That's fine. It's a road game. That's probably the biggest sin here, is that we're playing them in Amherst instead of giving them in Faroe and paying them a little bit extra to do that twice. But even throw that away. I like it when I don't find out things about my team for as long as possible. Give me junk games at the beginning, get them uh, a lot of encouragement, a lot of confidence in what they are before the real games start hitting. Well, we passed that mark. We had the real game start, and Missouri was found to be lacking, at least in one of those matchups. So this game here does not give me anything other than the win, which is obviously it counts. It's going to be in the record book forever. But I've seen my team suck, and this team that they are going to play now, no matter how they win, I'm still not going to learn anything. And the last thing I learned was that they were not very good. So to me, this isn't even a get right game, because the opponent is so bad that I don't think the starters, anybody on the team, is going to feel good about beating them. They're not going to go, hell yeah, we rallied and we bounced back and beat UMass. Like, no one's thinking that. So it's not going to give them anything. It's not going to give the players anything. Maybe you get to see your backups, which is a good thing, but this isn't an opportunity to bounce back mentally in my book. And that's a missed opportunity. What can we gain from this, Nathan Hurst?
I think the one thing I think that this team can, and the coaching staff maybe more specifically, can get from this game is figuring out a better road game routine. It seems like that has been a Achilles heel of the Eli Drinkwitz staff. And I mean, it's hard to win on the road in college football, no matter who you're playing or when you're playing or where you're playing. That's a difficult thing to do, but it's something that they've especially struggled with. And even especially as we've noted this past week at 11 o'clock, this is an 11 o'clock road game. So this is an opportunity to maybe change up the routine a little bit and try something different and not really risk a whole lot if it isn't the greatest routine, but at least something different. So that's a very minor thing, not even on the field. It's more off the field. But they need to do something different in whether it's how they prep before the game, what time they wake up, who the roommates are. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be something different the way they do it. And maybe this is a chance to try something new. That's the only positive I can think of. Going back to you discussing the timing of the game, that's the biggest issue with this, beyond the fact that we're playing at UMass in the first place, which is just outrageous to begin. But if this game was the first game of the season or the second game of the season, okay, it's a cream puff. You play those at the beginning of the year. It's just, we're happy to be out there. We're happy to be playing football and watching football, and racking up some stats, and then slowly build to more serious games. We've already gotten those serious games. We played 3 of them already, and then to backtrack the quality, backtrack the stakes is it's just not great. And they scheduled this game once again 7 years ago. There's no reason not to have scheduled. That was well before the SEC schedule was set. There's no reason they couldn't have scheduled this game in week 3 or week 4, but then instead to schedule it in week 7, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And there's no one to be held responsible for that, because everyone who was in the athletic department at that time is no longer in the athletic department. But it's just it's bizarre in a million ways, and I'll stop whining about it. But it's strange. So
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem with playing an independent, and I think there's there's 2 independents anymore. Now that Army's in the American. Well, I guess it's Notre Dame, UConn, and UMass. They have to build their schedule every year. They need a full 12 teams basically, so they're always open. But yeah, this isn't even like the benefit of a bye week. We just got off of a bye week. This isn't really an opportunity to heal up. Like, we had that. Obviously, Brady Cook continues to not be injured, but I guess that's an opportunity for him. Brett Norfleet, work on the shoulder or something. But it's not. You don't even get the benefit of an easier week, because you have to travel, and we just got off of a week off. So there's just nothing here, man. There's nothing here, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Missouri can't lose. I would never catch myself saying that. Very unlikely that they're going to lose. They could play exactly the way they played against Texas A&M and probably still win by 10. UMass is just bad. I respect what they're trying to do, but oh my God, you lost to teams. They're 121st ranked in SP plus, which is like 7 points better than Buffalo, who Missouri shut out and put 38 points on. UMass has lost to teams that are currently ranked 110th in SP plus, 82nd, 114th, 107th, 92nd. Central Connecticut, the team they have beat, the FCS team, is currently ranked 261st out of all 764 college football teams. They only won by 4 points at home.
And they only won 3 games last year, so it's not even like it's a historically strong program, Central Connecticut
No,
State. So.
their breakthrough years are 4 wins. I think that's happened one time, and that was with Mark Whipple a couple of years ago. They have nothing. They have nothing, and even the transfer portal is not really saving them because everything about them stinks. Like every aspect of their offense, every aspect of their defense, the special teams, yuck. Just it's bad. And Don Brown's a good football coach, man. Like I like his style. He's like, when all else fails, be aggressive. Like that's cool as hell. That is metal as hell. It's not working. This team sucks, and Missouri should beat them handily, and we'll learn nothing. So I guess, lessons from this game, don't schedule these anymore. I don't know what was. Jim Sturk had a thing about the Northeast. Is he from there?
No, he's from California. He's like a West Coast guy. Actually, I think he's from Washington State, but I'm not sure. He's definitely a West Coast guy. And he spent his entire career on the West Coast before coming to Mizzou. So it's not like he even has connections to the East Coast.
Does Missouri have a booster in the East Coast?
Not in Massachusetts. That is of any specific note that I am aware of. It's a strange. My guess is he made some calls saying, "Look, we're looking to save some money here because we want to reallocate those resources in other places. So instead of paying buy games, we'll do a home and home with teams like UMass, teams like Miami of Ohio, which thankfully we did buy out of that one. But even a team like Memphis, which we had to buy out last year, it was a money saving venture that was just ill conceived. We didn't need that's money we did not, as an athletic department, need to save. The SEC brings in enough money that we can afford to buy 3 home games against teams like UMass every year, and then have a fourth, FBS team or a fourth, Power 4 team like a Boston College, which that one I'm a little less perturbed about, but still strange, not anger inducing, but strange.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at least that's a power conference, or at least for now it is. So yeah, it's very odd. I seriously considered traveling to this game just because, like, how often do you end up in that corner of the country? I mean, Boston's cool, but Amherst, it's a college town that you don't really hear about all that much. Obviously, I did not go.
The fall foliage. I mean, hopefully the team will get a little field trip on Friday when they get in and drive around and see the fall foliage in New England. Maybe that's a positive we can get out of
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy some culture. Obviously I'm not there, but it's one of those unique things, and I know that back in the summer we were talking about this game, and I know the UMass. There's one UMass Twitter account out there that saw my preview and started pushing it out to their followers. So people started kind of getting in the replies about my takes on the quality of the football team and the quality of the stadium, and they were very proud of their little dumpster heap that they call McGurk Alumni Stadium. Like, excuse me, sir, we have not one but 2 toilets that flush. And I'm like, oh man, this is respect, man. Like, this is cool. I always thought, this would be a fun opportunity to get Missouri things out to Boston. Bring some toasted Rav, have Nelly come by, some Kansas City barbecue. Let's set up a Trops out there. Maybe make a man-made lake and have all the drunk college kids sit there. Just bring some culture to the East Coast there. Obviously, none of that's going to happen, but man, this is so. I don't even know. I can't even take it serious. I can't take it serious. Everything I've written about it is so hard to have any interest or any excitement about it. And yet, if you lose this game, it is the end of the world. the end of the world if we lose this game. Is there any part of you that's nervous that they do?
No, no, there's not. There's part of me that's nervous that it will be a grind and less, and just ugly to watch, and something that ends up being a 3-score game when it really should be a 6-score game
Sure.
when it's all is said and done. That's what I'm nervous about it, or and also just getting out of a physical football game with the roster intact.
Yeah.
I'm also scared about that, just like I was against Murray State, where what are we doing here, and risking the health of players that we will need down the line. So that's what I'm scared of. I is it possible? Yes. Have there been bigger upsets in the history of college football? Yes. But I mean, just looking at their results, the rest all season, I just don't see a world where we are 38 points better than Buffalo, and Buffalo is 31 points better than UMass, which is what their score was, 34-3 when they played earlier
Yeah.
this year. So
Yeah.
it's just going to be one of those sit down, grind it out, hope fingers crossed no one gets hurt, and let's try to pack it up as fast as we can and get out of here.
Okay, so Missouri is a 27.5-point favorite, at least as of right now.
Yes.
Okay. What's SP Plus say? 42-10. That would cover. That's roughly 31-point favorite. 11.1 to 42.1. So yeah, like 31-point favorite. Okay. Let's do our due diligence here. Let's talk through a way in which this game does stay close or, God forbid, get lost. What is UMass good on offense? Well, here is what they're less bad at. They're less bad at running the ball, which Missouri is obviously still a top 10 rush defense. So I can't imagine that would be the case. I will say this: UMass's passing game is very explosive reliance. And in fact, yeah, they're 50. No, they're 49th in passing explosiveness, 27th in yards per successful dropback. So if the ball leaves Tyson Fomanchan's hands, it's going very, very deep. Missouri is known to give up some big pass plays. Just throwing that out there. In fact, I think I said in my preview, I'm going to guarantee that UMass scores. I don't know how, but they're not going to be shutouts. I don't think that's going to be the case. So let's say it's a big pass that connects. Offensively, that's what they can do. Maybe they do find something on the ground game. Our linebackers are still hung over from Texas A&M. Maybe they're not taking them as seriously as you should. And all of a sudden, bam, you've given up a couple big plays there. Offense is now struggling. They're like, okay, what the hell? Why can't you do anything? And then UMass, what are they? They're also really good at turnovers. They have one of the better turnover margins in the country. Some of that's luck, some of that's opportunity, sure. But you can talk yourself into a situation where UMass connects on 2 or 3 big explosive plays and then nabs a few turnovers, and all of a sudden, it's 17-17 or like 21-17, and you're like, what the hell are we doing here? And the young men on our team start, getting a little disillusioned. You get Mopey, Luther Burden, and everybody else kind of goes, what the hell are we doing? And who knows what happens after. I still think they would win in that situation, but I'm trying to talk my way through how this can go wrong.
Yeah, it would have to be a series of frustrating 3-and-out drives on offense, a series of turnovers, a series of big plays that lead to a malaise on the sideline that causes some sort of a rift, and people yelling at one another, and just a mass chaos, and then a final fluky blocked punt or dropped dropped snap or something bad. We've seen a bad snap here or there in Colin Collison's career, something over Brady Cook's head that then leads to a late fourth quarter fumble recovery and field goal to win 20-17. That is the path of how this goes that way. I I think the chances of that are so small because of so many things that would have to go wrong for Mizzou
Yeah.
for it to end that way. Um, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. All things are possible in college football. I think the running game, they're going to be able to run the ball well enough on offense that they're going to prevent that from being the case. Where really the real worst case scenario we're looking at is get a 2-score lead and just kind of keep them at an arm's length the whole time, and maybe it ends up being an ugly 24-14 game, 27-17 game. Hopefully they don't give up 17 points, but
Yeah.
a couple long passes and a turnover that the defense holds for a field goal, and you could look at 17 pretty easily.
Well, do you remember? I'm probably gonna mess up his name. I want to try it anyway. Etinosa Rubin. Do you remember that name?
I do not recall that name.
Okay. So he currently is, he's a defensive end. He plays for UMass right now. However, in high school, he was a high 3-star defensive end out of Park Hill South in Kansas City, Missouri. And he committed to play at Clemson in 2018. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Get a job, sir. Get a job, sir.
The labor market's calling for you. Yeah, so now he's at UMass, and he has, for his career, 3.5 sacks, 15 tackles. But he and Tyson Fomachan, who's a blue chipper, they both went to Clemson. They both transferred to Georgia Tech after that, and then they both transferred to UMass. I don't know if they're BFF or what, but that's a connection there, Missouri connection. Yeah, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see some play variance. I don't want to see outside zone. Show me Nate Noel up the middle. Show me Marcus Carroll split out wide catching a pass. Show me Luther Burden Wildcat, Nate Noel Wildcat. Show me Nate Noel takes the snap, pitches it to Brady Cook, who throws the ball, or runs it. I don't care.
Passes to the tight end position, whether that's Brett
Any
Northrup
of them.
or anyone else.
Any of them. Yeah. I'd like to see, just some variance. What else can we do? What's a good third down play that we can run? What's a good 4th and short play that we can run to replace the fake Brady toss up the middle? Let's not see Brady Cook run really at all.
Never.
Don't need to see that anymore. Don't need to see outside zone. Like I said, don't need to see any screen plays to Luther. We've seen those. We know he can do that. Get him his touchdown and get him the heck out. Is there any? Oh, I mean, we'd like to see Williams Winery. I know that.
I would like to see some deep shots to Marquise Johnson.
Is he healthy? I know we don't have an injury for him.
He ran a 60-yard kickoff return last week. I mean, he can at least run in a straight line fast.
But he didn't take any snaps at receiver. That's the weirdest part.
But if he can run in a straight line fast and catch the ball, which he showed he could do, then I think they could at least try. And they've really only taken 2 all season, and he was only hurt. He's only got hurt against Vanderbilt, so it's not like he was hurt the previous weeks. So I'd like at least one deep shot to him.
Yeah,
maybe one to throw into Josh Manning on the other side.
I was gonna say, just give me one deep shot. I want to see one pass that travels further than 20 yards in the air be caught. Be caught. I know he can throw it deep. I want to see it caught. Just to remind me of the joy of what that feels like when I see that happen. I would like to see Josh Manning get more active. I think he could be very good, and he is kind of wilted in usage as we've gone through BC, through Vandy, through A&M. Want to see him. I like to see Courtney Crutchfield and James Madison. I just want to see him run some routes. Just want to get him out there, Williams Winery, obviously. I want to see Justin Bodford on the defensive line. Love to see that. Elias Williams, I want to see that guy come out there. I want to see Brian Huff again, Nick Rodriguez. Remember when those guys came out against Murray State and they're just bashing, like, oh, look at these little baby freshmen being awesome. I want to see that again, okay? I don't want to see anything that I've already seen. Just from the starters, I don't want to see what you've already done. And if we're not playing the stars, then I want to see some new faces. This is such an opportunity. It's so rare that you are so much better than your opposition. Um, I want to enjoy it, and the way I'm going to enjoy it is something new. So, does Missouri cover? That's really the question that we need to ask. Is Missouri going to
Yeah.
cover?
I mean, I picked them on Rock M Nation to cover
Okay.
27 points. It has gone up to 27 and a half, but when I published that, it was at 27. I mean, in 4 touchdowns, I don't think that's too much to ask to win by 4 touchdowns. I mean, ideally, they win by 5. I mean, ideally, it's something like, 45 to 10 sort of game would be
Sure.
great. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. I would
Yeah.
love it. I would love to score more than 40 points. We've done that once this season, and that was against Murray State. Um, so yeah, I think they do. I think they do. It might be into the third, fourth quarter before where they have to make that final score to push the spread into it, kind of like the Buffalo game, which actually went down to the last drive of the game. But I think they'll get there. UMass just has so little going for it that if they can get a nice lead, I'm not sure how much pushback they're going to get, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be fine 45-10. You mentioned that Missouri has not scored more than 50 all that much this year. Do you know how many times Missouri has scored more than 50 points under Eli Drinkwitz?
No more than 3 times. I would be shocked if it was more than 3 times. Maybe 4. Okay.
4 times.
And New Mexico State, I think, was one of those.
Let's go in order. You have Arkansas in 2020.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That was that crazy shootout game.
50-48. Yeah. And then you have SEMO in 2021, 59-28. That was the one that was a little too close for comfort there. And then you had Louisiana Tech in 2022.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you didn't have any in 2023, as good as they were. They never crested 50, and then 51-0 against Murray State. So that's 4 times.
Yeah.
Again,
if you're going to do it, this is the time to do it. None of those games are on the road. It'd be nice to score 50 points on the road.
There you go. It's just not something that Eli does. That's not the kind of team that he fields. But yeah, knock yourself out if that's what you want to do. Hey, let's go broad scope real quick, just as far as college in general, college football in general. 2 changes came down the pipe this week. Number 1, national letter of intent, known as the NLI, which we're not going to talk about because I'm just going to call it NIL accidentally. But your national letter of intent, no longer needed. We're just junking it. The second thing that changed was the transfer portal windows. They now have 30 total days. You have 20 days after FBS championship weekend to declare your entrance into the transfer portal. And then you have 10 days in the spring. So a little bit different. National letters of intent have always kind of been a joke. It's been more of a restrictor on the players than anything that's truly beneficial, other than giving the coaches knowing who's going to be on their roster next year, as far as the incoming freshmen go. But the transfer portal is probably for the best. I know that does restrict player movement a little bit, but my God, you have coaches who already didn't have a personal life, just constantly recruiting and re-recruiting their teams and trying to keep them from leaving. So between these two, which do you think is the most impactful, and what were your general thoughts on that?
Well, as far as the letters of intent go, I didn't see any what's going to replace them. I mean, there still needs to be, I guess it's going to be scholarship forms, and nothing that sounds super binding at this point, which is fine. The issue is at what point can a player then decide, or is he then committed to being on the team for that year, right? Because we've talked about transfer portal windows, and you can only enter your name into the portal in certain windows throughout the year. So at what point are they then officially a part? Is it after the spring portal window?
That's a good question.
Before your freshman year? That's unclear to me. I don't know. Getting rid of the NLI is fine to me. I mean, whatever. Hopefully that'll be replaced soon enough with just like actual employee contracts that will then be binding.
Yeah.
But that I'm fine with that one. The windows make a lot of sense to make it shorter. these players don't need a month to decide whether or not they're going to go into the portal. They should already, for the most part, know going in before the window even opens, I'm going to go into the portal or I'm not going to go into the portal. That doesn't mean once the portal closes, it doesn't mean they can't then commit after the window closes. They just can't enter the window at that time. So
Right.
it's not like it's limiting their amount of time they have to choose where they end up. They still have just about as much time as they want to do that. So I think that makes sense. There's no need to sit around for coaches to have to sit there and twiddle their thumbs and bite their fingernails, hoping as day after day after day goes by that no one else is gonna jump ship on them.
Yeah.
So give them 10 days. That way, if you going in, they decide originally they're not going to go in, and the 10 days is enough time for something to change, and then to make a decision that they do want to jump in, and it doesn't just drag on and on forever.
Yeah. I mean, you remember current Missouri 4-star linebacker Jeremiah Beasley was on campus in Ann Arbor, went through spring practice and then hit the portal. Now that was because Jim Harbaugh left, but still, I mean, you can even be a freshman and hit that just fine. I know a lot of people look at this and they're like, well, what's the negative? And I think the negative that you could talk yourself into would be the fact that it's 20 days after FBS championship weekend, which for this year is December 2nd,
The 4th,
December 7th, December 7th.
The championship weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens the next couple weeks? The playoff. And that's going to cover 3 weeks, but it's not going to cover the entire playoff. If you even wait till the last day, you're still going to have teams active going to the national championship. So could you conceivably have a playoff team that's shedding depth by entering the portal? Maybe. I would counter, just because you enter the portal doesn't mean you're off the team at that point. I don't think, unless the coach says, "Yeah, pack your stuff and go." But I don't know. I'm having a hard time worried about this one. And,
Yeah.
it seems just better overall.
It is, and they're able to get it. The window's still there for them to go into. There were actually a few. It wasn't any playoff teams, but there were a few bowl teams that allowed their players to actually go into the portal and still participate in the bowl with the hopes that they could play and put something on tape for wherever they go to. That probably depends on what level, if that player is going to transfer laterally or up or down. I think actually Drinkwitz allowed a player or two to practice with the team while in the portal. I could be making that up.
Oh, I know he did, because there are a few that announced right after the bowl game.
But that they had already been in the window, even though they were going with the team.
I think there's a few. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. This is all just kind of treading water and deck chairs on the Titanic until we come up with a legitimate system that can actually withstand the test of time. Right now, it's just every year they're going to try to change things here and there, and at least they're trying something or trying to fix it as best they can. It's not going to be fixed until there are wholesale changes, but
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. Missouri takes on UMass for the first time ever. I think they are 2-2 against Notre Dame and 2-0 against UConn. So that's your independent slate for Mizzou's record. Feel like they're going to add to the win column there, but we will find out on Saturday. Nathan Hurst, parting shots before we get the heck out of here.
Let's just get this one done. Let's get it done. It's on ESPN2, so Luther Burden's getting his national TV requests in. It's weird that it's this game, and we've had other more competitive games on lesser networks, but hey, we're here. We're ESPN2. Tune in. Let's make quick work. Get home. Get back on the bus. Get a beer. Take a nap. Move on to Auburn.
I'm all about that. Yeah. And that's the show for today. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. You can leave a comment or rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You can follow us on Twitter at Matt and H. Edwards. He's at Brista Hurst. And of course, you can follow the Rock M flagship at Rock M Nation and our podcast and outlet at Rock M Radio. We appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, MIZ.
ZOU.